You settle into your comfortable bed, the cool sheets embracing your body as darkness wraps around you like a gentle embrace. The familiar sounds of your modern world fade into distant whispers as your breathing deepens and your muscles release their daily tension. As consciousness drifts away, you feel yourself floating backward through time, through countless ages, until you begin to stir in a world 70 million years ago. Your awareness awakens gradually in the pre-dawn darkness of the late Cretaceous period, emerging from sleep as an entirely different creature in an ancient land. The first sensation that reaches your awakening consciousness is the coolness of the early morning air against your skin. You lie motionless for a moment, your body pressed against the sandy earth beneath a canopy of southern hemisphere stars that shine with crystalline clarity in the unpolluted atmosphere of your prehistoric world. The air carries the distinctive scent of the Patagonian landscape, a mixture of volcanic soil, sparse vegetation, and the distant tang of ancient seas. Your eyes open slowly, large and forward-facing, designed for the precise depth perception essential to your existence as an apex predator. The world appears in sharp detail even in the dim starlight, your vision perfectly adapted to both the brilliant sunshine and subtle shadows of your environment. Colors appear rich and vibrant, with an enhanced ability to detect movement that makes you supremely aware of every shifting shadow, every rustling leaf. As awareness fully returns, you begin to understand the magnificent predator you have become. You are Carnotaurus, the meat-eating bull, one of the most formidable hunters ever to walk the earth. Your body stretches 25 feet from the tip of your skull to the end of your powerful tail, and you weigh nearly 2 tons of pure predatory muscle and bone. Your first movement sends a cascade of sensations through your awakening form. You are built for speed and power, your body a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering designed for pursuit and capture of prey. Your legs, massive pillars of muscle and sinew, are proportioned like those of a giant bird, built for explosive acceleration and sustained high-speed pursuit across the varied terrain of late Cretaceous South America. Rising to your full height, you feel the remarkable power contained within your bipedal frame. Your hind legs, each one a monument to predatory efficiency, support your entire weight with graceful strength. The muscles of your thighs are enormous, capable of propelling you at speeds that will rival the fastest land animals that will ever exist. Your feet, each ending in 3 sharp, curved claws, grip the earth with the precision of a sprinter's spikes. Your arms present a fascinating paradox. They are remarkably small for a creature of your size, reduced to tiny vestigial limbs that seem almost comical in proportion to your massive body. Yet these diminutive appendages serve their own purpose in your predatory lifestyle, helping with balance and possibly playing a role in display behaviors that you do not yet fully understand. The most distinctive feature of your anatomy becomes apparent as you raise your head to survey your domain. 2 prominent horns project forward from above your eyes, giving you the demonic appearance that will one day inspire your scientific name. These horns are not merely decorative, but serve as both weapons and symbols of your status as the apex predator in your ecosystem. Your skull is long and narrow, perfectly designed to house the powerful jaw muscles that operate your most important hunting tool. Your mouth, when opened, reveals rows of sharp, serrated teeth, each one a precision-engineered cutting instrument designed to slice through flesh and crush bone. Unlike the massive, bone-crushing teeth of some other large predators, your dental equipment is optimized for speed and efficiency, allowing you to dispatch prey quickly and feed rapidly. Your tail, making up nearly half your total length, serves as a dynamic counterbalance to your large head and torso. It is thick and muscular at the base, tapering gradually to a point, and filled with the complex musculature necessary to maintain perfect balance whether you are standing still, walking slowly, or sprinting at maximum speed. Your skin, though not visible to your own eyes, is a complex covering that reflects your lifestyle and environment. It is neither the smooth hide of a modern reptile, nor the feathered covering of your bird descendants, but rather a unique integument that may include simple filamentous structures that provide insulation and display capabilities. The coloration blends perfectly with your arid environment, featuring patterns of browns, tans, and subtle reds that provide excellent camouflage among the rocky outcrops and sparse vegetation of your territory. As you stand fully alert in the pre-dawn darkness, you become aware of your remarkable sensory capabilities. Your vision is your primary hunting sense, with forward-facing eyes that provide the binocular depth perception essential for accurately judging distances during high-speed pursuits. Your eyes can detect the slightest movement at great distances, and your visual acuity is sharp enough to distinguish individual animals in a herd from more than a mile away. Your sense of smell, while not as developed as that of some other predators, is still acute enough to detect the scent trails of potential prey, the territorial markings of other predators, and the subtle chemical signals that indicate the health and emotional state of other animals. Your nostrils, positioned high on your snout, can sample air currents for information about your environment, even while your mouth is occupied with other activities. Your hearing is exceptionally acute, capable of detecting the footfalls of prey animals at considerable distances, the warning calls that indicate the presence of other predators, and the subtle sounds that reveal the location of hidden animals. Your ears, though small and seemingly insignificant, are precisely tuned to the frequencies that matter most in your predatory lifestyle. The early morning air carries a symphony of scents that paint a detailed picture of your world. You detect the earthy aroma of volcanic soil, the resinous scent of coniferous trees, the green smell of ferns and other primitive plants, and underlying it all, the complex bouquet of animal scents that tells you exactly which creatures have passed through your territory during the night. Your territory encompasses a vast area of diverse habitats characteristic of late Cretaceous Patagonia. To the west, you can see the dark silhouettes of mountains rising against the star-filled sky, volcanic peaks that occasionally glow with the fire of active eruptions. To the east, the land stretches away in rolling plains that extend toward distant seas. Your immediate surroundings consist of a mosaic of environments, from dense riverside forests to open savannas, from rocky badlands to lush wetlands. The vegetation of your world is unlike anything that exists in modern times. Ancient conifers dominate the landscape, their forms familiar yet subtly different from their modern descendants. Araucaria trees, relatives of the modern monkey puzzle tree, create distinctive umbrella-shaped canopies that dot the landscape. Tree ferns grow to enormous sizes, creating ferny groves that provide cover for the abundant herbivorous dinosaurs that form the base of your food web. Flowering plants exist in your world, but they are still relatively new in evolutionary terms and have not yet achieved the dominance they will hold in later geological periods. The flowers that do exist are generally simple in form, lacking the elaborate structures and intense colors that will characterize later floral evolution. However, they add their own subtle beauty to the prehistoric landscape and support the insects and other small creatures that form important links in your ecosystem's food web. As you stand alert in the pre-dawn stillness, you begin to hear the first stirrings of the diurnal creatures that share your world. In the distance, you detect the low, rumbling calls of sauropod dinosaurs beginning their daily activities. These massive herbivores, some of the largest land animals that will ever exist, move through your territory like living mountains, their footsteps creating vibrations that you can feel through the ground beneath your feet. Closer by, you hear the higher-pitched calls and movements of smaller herbivorous dinosaurs. Hadrosaurs, with their distinctive hollow crests and complex vocalizations, create a musical backdrop to the morning awakening. Ceratopsians, armored herbivores with elaborate frills and horns, emit deeper, more resonant calls as they begin their daily search for suitable vegetation. Your stomach, empty from the night's fast, begins to signal its need for sustenance. As a large predator, you require substantial amounts of meat to fuel your powerful body. But unlike some other carnivorous dinosaurs, you are built for active hunting rather than scavenging. Your entire anatomy is optimized for pursuit, capture, and rapid consumption of prey, and your hunting success directly determines your survival and reproductive success. You begin to move through your territory with the fluid grace of a born predator. Your gait is distinctive, unlike anything seen in the modern world. Your massive legs carry you forward with a rolling, ground-covering stride that can be maintained for hours during long pursuits. Each step is placed with careful precision, your three-toed feet finding optimal purchase on whatever substrate you encounter. Your movement is remarkably quiet for such a large animal. Your footpads, broad and cushioned, absorb the impact of each step and minimize the sounds that might alert potential prey to your approach. Your leg bones are hollow in places, reducing weight without sacrificing strength, allowing you to move with a combination of power and stealth that makes you supremely effective as an ambush predator. As you patrol your territory, you constantly sample your environment for information. Your head moves from side to side in a characteristic scanning motion, your forward-facing eyes searching for any sign of movement that might indicate the presence of prey. Your nostrils flare regularly as you test the air for scent information, and your small but sensitive ears are constantly alert for sounds that might reveal hunting opportunities. The landscape around you is painted in the soft colors of early dawn. The eastern horizon shows the first faint lightening that precedes sunrise, and the stars begin to fade as the sky gradually brightens. The air temperature is cool, but not cold, perfect for the high-energy activities that will characterize your day. A gentle breeze stirs the vegetation and carries scent information from across your extensive territory. You approach a small rise that provides an excellent vantage point over a large portion of your hunting grounds. From this elevated position, you can survey several different habitat types, each of which supports different communities of potential prey animals. Your territory is arranged to take advantage of this diversity, ensuring that you always have access to hunting opportunities regardless of seasonal changes or local variations in prey populations. To the north, a river winds through a valley bottom, its banks lined with lush vegetation that supports large populations of herbivorous dinosaurs. The river provides not only water, but also the rich plant growth that sustains the complex food webs upon which your survival depends. You can see the dark shapes of large herbivores moving along the riverbank, their forms indistinct in the early morning light, but clearly recognizable as potential prey. To the south, the land rises into a series of rocky ridges and badlands, an area of sparse vegetation and difficult terrain that serves as a refuge for some of the more agile prey species. These areas require different hunting strategies, relying more on stealth and ambush than on the high-speed pursuits that characterize your hunting in more open terrain. To the east and west, rolling plains stretch away into the distance, covered with the grasslands and open woodlands that support the largest herds of herbivorous dinosaurs. These are your primary hunting grounds, areas where your speed and endurance provide maximum advantage in pursuing the swift herbivores that form the bulk of your diet. As you survey your domain from the elevated vantage point, you become aware of movement in the valley below. A mixed herd of herbivorous dinosaurs has emerged from the riverside vegetation and is beginning to move across the open floodplain. Even at this distance, you can distinguish between different species by their characteristic silhouettes and movement patterns. The herd appears to consist primarily of hadrosaurs, duck-billed dinosaurs of various sizes that move with the fluid grace characteristic of their kind. Their distinctive profiles, with elongated skulls and complex crests, are clearly visible even in the dim light. These are medium-sized herbivores, perfect targets for a predator of your capabilities, large enough to provide substantial nutrition, but not so large as to present serious risks during the hunt. Mixed in with the hadrosaurs, you detect the presence of smaller ornithopods, possibly hypsilophodonts or similar species. These smaller dinosaurs are more agile than the hadrosaurs, but also provide less nutrition per individual, requiring you to weigh the energy costs of pursuit against the potential caloric rewards of success. Your predatory instincts are immediately aroused by the sight of potential prey, but you do not immediately begin pursuit. Instead, you settle into a patient observation mode, studying the herd's behavior patterns, identifying individuals that might be vulnerable to attack, and planning your approach strategy. Successful predation requires careful planning and precise execution, and your species has evolved the intelligence and patience necessary for sophisticated hunting strategies. The herd moves slowly across the floodplain, the individual animals spreading out as they search for preferred vegetation. Their movements appear relaxed and unhurried, suggesting that they are not currently aware of any immediate threats. However, you notice that several individuals regularly lift their heads to scan their surroundings, demonstrating the constant vigilance that characterizes prey species in your dangerous world. You begin to plan your attack strategy, considering factors such as wind direction, terrain features, escape routes, and the specific vulnerabilities of your chosen target. Your hunting success depends not only on your physical capabilities, but also on your ability to read the behavior of your prey and anticipate their responses to your attack. The wind is currently blowing from the prey animals toward your position, carrying their scent to you while preventing your own scent from reaching them. This is ideal for a stealthy approach, allowing you to get closer before being detected. However, wind conditions can change quickly, and you must be prepared to adapt your strategy accordingly. The terrain between your position and the herd offers several features that could be used to your advantage. A series of low ridges and scattered trees provides potential cover for a stealthy approach, while the open areas beyond offer excellent opportunities for high-speed pursuit once your attack is detected. Your strategy will need to balance stealth and speed, using cover to get as close as possible before revealing your presence and beginning the final assault. You begin to descend from your observation point, moving with the careful precision of an experienced hunter. Your large body, despite its size, moves with remarkable stealth through the landscape. Your foot placement is deliberate and calculated, avoiding loose rocks or dried vegetation that might create noise and alert your prey to your approach. As you move closer to the herd, you become increasingly aware of the individual animals that compose it. Each herbivore has its own personality and behavioral patterns, its own strengths and weaknesses that might influence your hunting strategy. You begin to focus on specific individuals, evaluating their potential as targets based on factors such as size, apparent health, position within the herd, and alertness level. One particular hadrosaur catches your attention. It is a medium-sized individual that appears to be feeding somewhat apart from the main group, focused intently on a patch of particularly attractive vegetation. Its position places it slightly closer to your intended approach route, and its apparent preoccupation with feeding suggests that it might be less alert to approaching danger. However, you also notice that this individual is in excellent physical condition, well-muscled, and apparently healthy. While this makes it a more nutritious target, it also means that it will be capable of strong resistance and rapid flight if your attack is not perfectly executed. You must weigh these factors carefully as you continue your approach. The early morning light continues to strengthen as you work your way closer to the herd. The sky brightens gradually from deep purple through various shades of blue toward the golden colors that will herald the actual sunrise. This changing light affects your hunting strategy, as increased visibility will make stealth more difficult, but will also improve your ability to track your prey during a high-speed pursuit. You reach a position approximately 200 yards from the herd, close enough to observe individual animals in detail, but still far enough away to avoid immediate detection. From this distance, you can see the subtle variations in coloration and size that distinguish different individuals, and you can observe their feeding and social behaviors in detail. The hadrosaurs move through the vegetation with a characteristic swaying motion, their long necks allowing them to reach high into trees and bushes, while their powerful legs carry them across varied terrain with surprising grace. Their dental batteries, composed of hundreds of small teeth, work constantly to process the tough plant material that forms their diet, creating a subtle background sound of grinding and chewing. Your chosen target continues to feed apart from the main group, its attention focused on a stand of young conifers that apparently offer particularly desirable foliage. Its isolation from the herd makes it an ideal target, as a successful attack would be less likely to be immediately disrupted by the defensive actions of other herd members. You begin the final phase of your approach, moving with even greater stealth and precision. Every step is carefully planned and executed, your body held low to minimize your profile, while your powerful leg muscles remain coiled and ready for explosive action. Your breathing becomes controlled and deliberate, optimized for the sustained high-energy effort that will be required once your attack begins. The distance between you and your target gradually decreases as you work your way through the available cover. You use every rock outcrop, every bush, every slight depression in the terrain to conceal your approach. Your mottled coloration helps you blend with the varied landscape, and your patient movement prevents the sudden motion that would immediately alert your prey to danger. At 100 yards, you pause to reassess the situation. Your target continues to feed, apparently unaware of your presence, but you notice that one of the other herd members has begun to show signs of unease. This individual, a larger hadrosaur positioned closer to the main group, has raised its head and is scanning the surrounding area with obvious alertness. You freeze completely, becoming a living statue as you wait for the alert animal to resume feeding. Minutes pass as you remain motionless, your patience as much a weapon as your speed and strength. The nervous hadrosaur eventually lowers its head and returns to feeding, but you note its position and behavior as factors that will influence your final attack strategy. You resume your approach, now moving even more carefully as the distance to your target continues to decrease. At 50 yards, you can see individual details of your chosen prey's anatomy and behavior. The animal is a mature adult, probably weighing close to 2 tons, with the robust build characteristic of a healthy herbivore in its prime. The hadrosaur's feeding brings it gradually closer to your position as it works through the stand of conifers that has attracted its attention. This movement plays perfectly into your hunting strategy, reducing the distance you will need to cover during your final assault, while positioning your target even further from the protective presence of the main herd. At 30 yards, you settle into your final attack position. You are now close enough to observe the rhythm of your target's feeding behavior, the pattern of head movements as it selects and processes vegetation, the moments of vulnerability when its attention is completely focused on its meal. Your muscles tense as you prepare for the explosive acceleration that will launch your attack. You choose your moment carefully, waiting for the optimal combination of target position, herd alertness, and environmental conditions. Your prey takes another step closer as it reaches for a particularly attractive branch, and you recognize that this is the opportunity you have been waiting for. Your attack begins with an explosion of motion that transforms you from a motionless shadow into a terrifying force of nature. Your powerful legs drive you forward with acceleration that defies your size. Your body stretched into the streamlined profile of pure predatory efficiency. The distance between you and your target disappears with shocking speed as you cover the ground in great bounding strides. Your prey's first indication of danger comes when it hears the thunderous sound of your approach, the rhythmic pounding of your feet against the earth, creating a drumbeat of impending doom. The hadrosaur's head snaps up from its feeding, its eyes wide with the sudden recognition of mortal peril. But by then, your attack is already well advanced. The chase that follows demonstrates the remarkable athletic capabilities of both predator and prey. Your target immediately begins evasive maneuvers, its own powerful legs propelling it toward the safety of the herd with impressive speed. However, your superior acceleration and sustained speed gradually close the gap between you, your streamlined body cutting through the air with minimal resistance. The pursuit carries you across varied terrain as your prey attempts to use environmental features to break contact or gain advantage. You follow with the single-minded determination of a perfectly adapted hunting machine, your forward-facing eyes locked onto your target, while your powerful legs automatically adjust to changing ground conditions. The other members of the herd scatter as they become aware of the attack, their own survival instincts overriding any inclination to assist their endangered companion. This reaction is typical of prey species, where individual survival takes precedence over group cohesion when faced with immediate predatory threats. Your target attempts several evasive maneuvers, sudden direction changes that would confuse a less agile predator, but your own maneuverability allows you to match these moves while maintaining your relentless pursuit. Your tail serves as a dynamic stabilizer, constantly adjusting to help you maintain balance and control during high-speed turns and course corrections. The chase culminates when your superior speed finally brings you within striking range of your exhausted prey. Your attack is swift and precise, your powerful jaws designed to deliver a killing bite that minimizes suffering while ensuring rapid death. The entire hunt, from initial stalk to final capture, has been executed with the efficiency that characterizes successful apex predators. Your successful hunt provides the substantial nutrition your body requires, and you feed with the focused intensity of a creature that must maximize the benefit from each kill. Your dental equipment, perfectly adapted for processing meat, works efficiently to consume your prey, while your digestive system prepares to extract maximum nutrition from your meal. As you feed, you remain alert to your surroundings, aware that other predators might be attracted by the scent of fresh meat, or that scavengers might attempt to claim a share of your kill. Your position during feeding is carefully chosen to provide good visibility in all directions while offering escape routes if a larger predator should appear. The feeding process is methodical and efficient, your body extracting not only immediate nutrition, but also storing energy reserves that will sustain you through periods when hunting opportunities are scarce. As a large predator at the top of the food chain, you cannot afford to waste any part of your successful hunts. After satisfying your immediate hunger, you begin to experience the post-feeding lethargy that is common among large predators. Your body redirects energy from locomotion and hunting activities to digestion and nutrient absorption, and you seek a secure location where you can rest while your meal is processed. You choose a resting spot that offers both comfort and security, a slightly elevated area with good visibility and multiple escape routes. The location provides some shelter from the strengthening sun, while allowing you to monitor your territory for threats or opportunities. Your body settles into a resting position that can be quickly abandoned if circumstances require sudden action. The successful hunt has satisfied more than just your nutritional needs. The complex behaviors involved in locating, stalking, and capturing prey have provided mental stimulation and emotional satisfaction that are as important to your well-being as the physical nourishment. You are a creature designed by evolution for hunting, and the successful exercise of these abilities provides deep fulfillment. As you rest and digest your meal, the day continues to develop around you. The sun climbs higher in the sky, and the temperature begins to rise from the cool conditions of early morning toward the warmth that will characterize midday in your semi-arid environment. The changing conditions will influence your activities and those of the other creatures that share your ecosystem. Other predators begin their own daily activities, and you occasionally hear their distant calls or catch their scent on the changing air currents. Your position at the top of the food chain does not guarantee safety, as larger predators or coordinated groups of smaller ones could still pose threats to your survival. Constant vigilance remains essential even during periods of rest and digestion. The herbivorous dinosaurs that survived your morning hunt gradually return to their normal activities, though they maintain increased alertness that will persist for hours after the attack. Their behavior serves as an early warning system for your own security, as their alarm calls and evasive actions often provide the first indication of approaching threats. The advancing morning brings increased activity throughout your ecosystem. Flying reptiles, pterosaurs of various sizes, begin to appear in greater numbers as thermal currents develop with the warming air. These aerial creatures serve multiple roles in your environment, from tiny insectivores to large fish eaters that patrol the waterways. Small mammals, the ancestors of future dominant species, emerge from their nighttime hiding places to forage during the brief period when diurnal predators are less active, but nocturnal hunters have returned to their dens. These diminutive creatures play important roles in your ecosystem despite their small size, serving as prey for smaller predators and as agents of seed dispersal for many plant species. Your resting period gradually transitions into a more active phase as your body completes the initial processing of your meal. While full digestion will continue for many hours, you begin to feel ready for movement and exploration. Your territory requires regular patrolling to maintain your dominance and to monitor for changes that might affect your hunting success. You rise from your resting position with the fluid grace of a perfectly adapted predator, your powerful muscles responding instantly to your movement commands. The brief rest has refreshed you without diminishing your alertness, and you feel ready to resume the active behaviors that characterize your daily existence. Your patrol route takes you through different sections of your territory, each offering unique opportunities and challenges. The diversity of habitats within your domain ensures that you encounter various types of prey animals and environmental conditions, requiring you to constantly adapt your hunting strategies and territorial behaviors. You move through a section of open woodland where scattered trees provide partial shade while allowing good visibility across considerable distances. This habitat supports medium-sized herbivores that prefer the combination of food resources and escape cover that characterizes these transitional environments. Your movement through this area is deliberately conspicuous, serving to announce your presence to any potential competitors or prey animals that might be present. Your territorial displays help maintain your dominance without requiring the energy expenditure of actual confrontations, an efficient approach to resource management that characterizes successful apex predators. You encounter the scent trail of another large predator, possibly another member of your own species, or perhaps a different carnivorous dinosaur that has passed through your territory during the night. Your response to this intrusion is immediate and intense, your territorial instincts triggering a complex series of behaviors designed to assess and respond to potential threats. You follow the scent trail carefully, gathering information about the intruder's size, health, direction of travel, and time of passage. Your acute chemical senses can determine many details about the other predator, including its species, sex, and general condition. This information helps you decide whether the intrusion represents a serious threat requiring active response or merely a transient passage that can be tolerated. The trail leads toward the boundary of your territory, suggesting that the other predator was simply passing through, rather than attempting to establish residency or claim resources. However, you follow the trail to its exit point to ensure that the intruder has indeed departed and to reinforce your own scent markings in this border area. Your territorial marking behavior involves a complex combination of scent deposits and visual displays that communicate your presence and status to other predators. These marks serve as a form of chemical communication that helps prevent conflicts by clearly establishing territorial boundaries and ownership claims. After confirming that the territorial intrusion was temporary, you continue your patrol through other sections of your domain. Each area requires different types of monitoring and maintenance, from checking water sources to examining preferred hunting grounds for changes in prey populations or environmental conditions. You approach a riverine area where the permanent water source supports lush vegetation and high concentrations of herbivorous dinosaurs. This is one of your most productive hunting grounds, but it also attracts other predators and requires careful management to maintain your exclusive access to the best ambush sites. The river valley presents a dramatically different environment from the more arid uplands that comprise much of your territory. Here, the abundant water supports dense forests of tree ferns and conifers, creating a green corridor that contrasts sharply with the browns and tans of the surrounding landscape. The increased vegetation density in the river valley supports larger populations of herbivorous dinosaurs, but it also makes hunting more challenging by providing additional cover for prey animals and limiting your ability to use your speed advantage in pursuit situations. Your hunting strategies in this environment rely more heavily on stealth and ambush tactics. You move carefully through the riverside vegetation, your large size making it impossible to move with complete stealth, but your experience allowing you to minimize the sounds and visual cues that might alert potential prey to your presence. The dense vegetation provides excellent cover, but also limits your own ability to detect threats or opportunities. The sound of running water masks many of the subtle audio cues that you rely upon for information about your environment, requiring you to depend more heavily on visual and chemical senses. The humid air of the river valley carries scents differently than the drier upland areas, and you must constantly adjust your sensory strategies to maintain optimal awareness. You discover evidence of recent feeding activity by large herbivores, areas where vegetation has been heavily browsed and the ground disturbed by the passage of massive feet. The freshness of these signs indicates that substantial prey animals have been in this area within the past few hours, suggesting good hunting opportunities if you can locate and approach them successfully. Following the feeding sign deeper into the river valley, you eventually locate a small group of large herbivorous dinosaurs that have taken refuge in a particularly dense section of forest. These appear to be sauropods, massive long-necked dinosaurs that represent some of the largest land animals that will ever exist. The sauropods present a complex hunting challenge. Their enormous size means that a successful kill would provide nutrition for many days, but their mass also makes them formidable opponents capable of inflicting serious injury with their powerful tails or massive feet. Additionally, sauropods often feed in small groups that provide mutual protection against predators. You observe the sauropods from a concealed position, studying their behavior patterns and looking for opportunities that might allow a successful attack. These giants move with surprising grace despite their size, their long necks allowing them to reach high into the forest canopy, while their powerful legs carry their massive bodies through terrain that would challenge smaller animals. The social dynamics of the sauropod group become apparent as you watch their feeding behavior. The individuals maintain loose contact with each other through low-frequency vocalizations that carry considerable distances through the dense vegetation. These calls serve both to coordinate group movements and to provide early warning of potential threats. After careful observation, you decide that the sauropods do not present a practical hunting opportunity at this time. Their group cohesion and alert behavior make a successful attack unlikely, and the dense vegetation would limit your ability to use speed and maneuverability if a pursuit situation developed. You file this information for future reference and continue your patrol. Your exploration of the river valley reveals the remarkable diversity of life that characterizes this ecosystem. In addition to the large herbivorous dinosaurs, you encounter evidence of numerous smaller species that fill various ecological niches within the complex food web of your prehistoric world. Small theropod dinosaurs, possibly pack hunters or specialized insectivores, have left tracks in the soft mud near the water's edge. These diminutive predators pose no threat to you, but serve important roles in controlling populations of small prey animals and competing with you for some food resources. Aquatic life in the river system includes primitive fish species, some of considerable size, as well as various invertebrates that form the base of the aquatic food web. While these water-dwelling creatures are not part of your normal diet, they support other predators and contribute to the overall productivity of your ecosystem. The dense vegetation of the river valley also supports numerous small mammals, early representatives of the group, that will eventually dominate terrestrial ecosystems. These creatures are mostly nocturnal and highly secretive, but their presence adds another layer of complexity to the ecological relationships within your territory. As the morning progresses toward midday, the temperature begins to rise significantly, and you start to consider the thermal challenges that will characterize the warmest part of the day. Your large size and dark coloration make you particularly susceptible to heat stress, and you must plan your activities accordingly. You begin to move away from the humid river valley toward areas that offer better thermal management opportunities. The open uplands, while hotter during midday, also provide better air circulation and access to shade that can help you regulate your body temperature during the peak heat hours. Your route back towards the uplands takes you through transitional habitats that combine elements of both riverine and arid environments. These ecotones often support unique communities of plants and animals that are adapted to the variable conditions characteristic of environmental boundaries. In one such transitional area, you encounter a mixed herd of medium-sized herbivorous dinosaurs that represents another potential hunting opportunity. However, the advancing heat and your recent successful hunt make you less inclined toward immediate predatory action. Instead, you observe the herd as a form of reconnaissance that will inform future hunting decisions. The herbivores in this mixed group display interesting social behaviors as they navigate the complex relationships between different species sharing the same general habitat and food resources. Some species appear to benefit from association with others, gaining protection through increased vigilance or early warning systems. Your presence, even at a considerable distance, is eventually detected by the more alert members of the herd. Their alarm calls and evasive movements trigger responses throughout the group, demonstrating the sophisticated communication systems that have evolved among prey species in response to predation pressure. Rather than pursuing these animals, you use their alarm behavior as an opportunity to practice your stalking skills and to gather information about their detection capabilities and escape strategies. This type of learning experience helps you refine your hunting techniques and improve your success rates in future encounters. As the sun climbs higher and the heat becomes more intense, you seek out a resting area that will provide comfort and security during the midday thermal stress period. Your choice of location must balance several factors, including shade availability, security from other predators, and access to potential hunting opportunities. You locate an ideal resting spot in a rocky outcrop that provides excellent shade while offering commanding views over several different habitat types. The elevated position allows you to monitor your territory for threats or opportunities while remaining relatively cool and comfortable during the hottest part of the day. Your midday rest period is characterized by reduced activity but continued alertness. Your body enters a conservation mode that minimizes energy expenditure while maintaining the ability to respond quickly to significant threats or exceptional opportunities. This behavioral adaptation allows you to survive in environments where thermal stress could otherwise be debilitating. The rock surfaces around your resting area absorb and radiate heat in patterns that create complex microclimates within a small area. You position yourself to take advantage of the coolest spots while remaining able to move quickly to even cooler areas if the heat becomes too intense. During your rest period, you observe the midday activities of other creatures in your ecosystem. Many smaller animals also seek shade and reduce their activity levels during the peak heat hours, creating a general lull in ecosystem activity that will persist until the late afternoon cooling begins. However, some species remain active throughout the midday heat, having evolved specific adaptations that allow them to function efficiently in high-temperature conditions. Flying reptiles, with their ability to access cooler air at higher altitudes, continue their soaring and hunting activities. Some small dinosaurs and early mammals have behavioral or physiological adaptations that allow continued activity. The thermal stress of midday also affects the vegetation in your environment, with many plants reducing their water loss through various mechanisms such as closing their stomata or changing the orientation of their leaves. These plant responses indirectly affect the behavior of herbivorous animals and, consequently, your own hunting opportunities. As you rest in the shade, your digestive system continues its important work of processing your morning's meal. The complex biochemical processes involved in breaking down and absorbing nutrients from meat require substantial energy and time, making your midday rest period an essential component of efficient resource utilization. Your body temperature regulation during the rest period involves a combination of behavioral and physiological mechanisms. Your choice of resting location provides external cooling, while internal processes, such as adjusting blood flow patterns and breathing rates, help maintain optimal body temperature without excessive energy expenditure. The shade provided by the rocky outcrop creates a significantly cooler microenvironment than the surrounding open areas, where surface temperatures are climbing toward levels that would be dangerous for sustained exposure. Your dark coloration, while excellent for camouflage, absorbs solar radiation efficiently, making shade-seeking behavior essential during peak heat periods. Your breathing pattern during the rest period becomes deeper and more regular, optimized for efficient gas exchange while minimizing water loss through respiration. The dry air of your semi-arid environment makes water conservation a constant concern, particularly during periods of high temperature when evaporative cooling becomes necessary for thermal regulation. As you rest, you remain attentive to the acoustic environment around you, your sensitive hearing monitoring for sounds that might indicate threats or opportunities. The midday period often reveals different acoustic patterns than morning or evening, as various species adjust their activity levels and communication behaviors to cope with thermal stress. The reduced activity level of many animals during midday creates opportunities for different types of acoustic monitoring. Sounds carry differently in the hot, still air, and the general reduction in background noise allows you to detect more distant or subtle audio cues that might be masked during periods of higher general activity. You occasionally hear the distant calls of other large predators, their vocalizations serving various purposes, from territorial announcements to social communication with mates or offspring. These sounds provide valuable information about the distribution and activities of potential competitors or threats within your broader ecosystem. The thermal stress period also affects the behavior of flying reptiles in your environment, with some species adjusting their flight patterns to take advantage of thermal updrafts that develop as the ground heats unevenly. You observe these aerial creatures with interest, as their movements often indicate the presence of carrion or active prey situations that might represent opportunities for you. As the sun reaches its zenith, the intensity of solar radiation peaks, creating the most challenging thermal conditions of the day. Your metabolic processes adjust to cope with these conditions, with non-essential activities minimized while critical functions such as digestion and immune system operation continue at optimal levels. The rocky surfaces around your resting area begin to radiate intense heat, creating shimmering air currents that distort your vision of distant objects. This optical effect, while sometimes hampering long-distance observation, also provides information about wind patterns and thermal gradients that can be useful for predicting weather changes or identifying areas of thermal refuge. Your eyes, adapted for excellent vision in various lighting conditions, automatically adjust to the intense brightness of midday while maintaining their sensitivity to movement and other important visual cues. The forward-facing position of your eyes provides excellent depth perception for hunting activities, but it also means that you must actively scan your environment to maintain comprehensive awareness. During the peak heat period, you notice changes in the behavior and distribution of potential prey animals throughout your territory. Many species seek shade and reduce their activity levels, but they do so in predictable patterns that create opportunities for strategic positioning and ambush hunting when conditions improve. The midday thermal stress also affects the chemical environment around you, with increased evaporation rates changing the concentration and distribution of scent molecules in the air. Your chemical sensing abilities must adjust to these changing conditions to maintain optimal information gathering about your environment. As the afternoon begins to develop, the sun starts its gradual decline from its zenith, initiating the thermal conditions that will eventually provide relief from the midday heat. However, the change is initially subtle, with surface temperatures continuing to rise even as the angle of solar radiation begins to decrease. Your body begins to anticipate the coming relief from thermal stress, with various physiological systems preparing for the increased activity levels that will characterize the late afternoon and evening hours. Your digestive processes accelerate slightly as your body prepares to support higher energy demands. The first signs of afternoon thermal relief become apparent in the behavior of other animals in your ecosystem. Some species begin to show increased activity levels, moving from deep shade into areas of partial sun exposure as they prepare for renewed feeding and social activities. You remain in your shaded resting area, but begin to show subtle signs of increased alertness and preparation for activity. Your head movements become more frequent and systematic as you scan your environment, and your body posture shifts slightly toward a more ready position. The changing thermal conditions create new patterns of air movement as differential heating creates localized wind currents. These air movements affect both the distribution of scent information and the behavior of flying species, creating a dynamic environment that requires constant monitoring and adaptation. As the afternoon progresses, you observe changes in the feeding patterns of herbivorous dinosaurs throughout your territory. Many species begin to emerge from their midday refuges and resume active foraging, creating new hunting opportunities as they disperse across the landscape in predictable patterns. The renewed activity of potential prey animals triggers subtle changes in your own behavior and physiology. Your predatory instincts begin to increase their influence on your decision-making processes, and you start to evaluate the hunting opportunities that are developing as the thermal conditions become more favorable. You begin to consider your afternoon territorial patrol and hunting strategy, taking into account the changing environmental conditions, the locations of recent prey animal activity, and your own nutritional needs based on the success of your morning hunt and the energy expenditure of your daily activities. The afternoon thermal relief allows you to contemplate more energetic activities, including extended travel to different parts of your territory that might have been inaccessible during the peak heat period. Your hunting range can expand significantly as conditions become more favorable for sustained activity. You start to notice the subtle environmental cues that indicate the progression of the daily thermal cycle. The angle of shadows begins to change more noticeably, and the quality of light starts its gradual shift from the harsh white of midday toward the warmer tones that will characterize late afternoon and evening. Your metabolic processes begin to adjust for increased activity. With energy reserves mobilized, and circulation patterns optimized for the higher performance demands that will characterize your afternoon activities. Your body temperature regulation systems prepare for the transition from passive cooling to active thermal management. The behavioral changes of other species in your ecosystem provide additional information about environmental conditions and potential opportunities. The renewed activity of prey animals must be balanced against the similar activation of competing predators, creating a complex dynamic environment. As the thermal conditions continue to improve, you begin to feel the restless energy that signals your readiness to resume active hunting and territorial behaviors. Your muscles, relaxed during the midday rest period, begin to show subtle signs of tension as they prepare for potential high-energy activities. You gradually shift from your resting position to a more alert posture, your body naturally transitioning toward the active stance that characterizes your hunting and territorial behaviors. The movement feels smooth and natural, your body systems working in perfect coordination to support the transition. Your sensory systems increase their activity levels as environmental conditions become more favorable for gathering information about your territory. Your vision sharpens its focus on movement detection. Your hearing becomes more active in scanning for audio cues, and your chemical senses increase their sampling of air currents. The changing light conditions of mid-afternoon create new opportunities for visual hunting strategies. The lower angle of sunlight creates longer shadows and more complex patterns of light and shade that can be used for concealment during stalking approaches to potential prey. You begin to move away from your resting area, your body responding smoothly to the demands of locomotion after the period of reduced activity. Your gait quickly settles into the efficient, ground-covering stride that allows you to patrol your extensive territory while conserving energy for hunting activities. Your afternoon patrol route is different from your morning exploration, focusing on areas that are most likely to provide hunting opportunities given the current environmental conditions and the recent activity patterns of prey animals throughout your territory. You move through an area of scattered trees and open grassland that provides excellent visibility while offering some cover for stalking approaches. This habitat type is particularly productive during afternoon hours, when many herbivorous species emerge from their midday refuges to resume feeding activities. The improved thermal conditions allow you to move with greater speed and endurance than was possible during the peak heat period. Your body feels strong and responsive, ready for the sustained effort that successful hunting requires in your challenging environment. You encounter fresh sign of herbivorous dinosaur activity, tracks and feeding evidence that indicate the recent passage of potential prey animals. The freshness of these signs suggests that hunting opportunities may be developing as animals resume their normal activity patterns. Following the trail of recent herbivore activity, you move through varied terrain that showcases the diversity of your late Cretaceous environment. The landscape combines elements of forest, grassland, and semi-arid scrubland, creating a mosaic of habitats that supports remarkable biological diversity. Your tracking skills allow you to interpret the subtle signs left by passing animals, reading stories written in disturbed vegetation, footprints in soft soil, and scent traces carried on the air currents. These skills, honed by evolutionary pressure and individual experience, make you a supremely effective hunter. The trail leads toward an area where a seasonal stream has created a small wetland environment that attracts various species of herbivorous dinosaurs. These temporary water sources are particularly valuable during dry periods and often concentrate prey animals in predictable locations. As you approach the wetland area, you begin to employ the stealth techniques that are essential for successful ambush hunting. Your movement becomes more deliberate and controlled, with careful attention to noise minimization and the use of available cover to conceal your approach. The wetland environment presents both opportunities and challenges for hunting activities. The soft ground near the water source makes tracking easier and provides clear evidence of recent animal activity, but it also makes silent movement more difficult and limits your options for high-speed pursuit. You discover that several different species of herbivorous dinosaurs have visited the wetland within recent hours, creating a complex pattern of tracks and sign that must be carefully interpreted to identify current opportunities. The diversity of species using the area suggests that it is a particularly valuable resource in your ecosystem. From a concealed observation position, you survey the wetland area for signs of current animal activity. The water source and surrounding vegetation provide ideal conditions for herbivore feeding and drinking, making this location a probable site for afternoon and evening animal congregations. Your patience is rewarded when you detect movement in the vegetation on the far side of the wetland. A small group of herbivorous dinosaurs emerges from cover and begins to approach the water, their behavior cautious but suggesting that they have not detected your presence. The approaching animals appear to be medium-sized ornithopods, possibly species of iguanodont or similar herbivores. Their size and apparent health make them attractive potential targets, while their group dynamics present both challenges and opportunities for hunting strategy development. You observe the group's approach behavior carefully, noting their scanning patterns, spacing, and apparent alertness levels. This information will be crucial for planning an attack strategy that maximizes your chances of success, while minimizing the risk of injury or energy expenditure. The herbivores reach the water's edge and begin to drink, their behavior suggesting that they feel relatively secure in this location. However, you notice that they maintain a careful watch rotation, with individual animals taking turns at vigilance while others focus on drinking. Your hunting instincts evaluate the developing situation, considering factors such as escape routes, terrain features, wind direction, and the specific vulnerabilities of each potential target. The successful outcome of any attack will depend on careful planning and precise execution. You begin to position yourself for a potential attack, moving with extreme stealth to reach a location that will optimize your approach angle and minimize the distance you must cover during the final assault. Your body movements are controlled and deliberate, designed to avoid any action that might alert your potential prey. The wind conditions are favorable for your approach, carrying your scent away from the drinking animals while bringing their scents and sounds to your highly sensitive detection systems. These conditions will help you maintain the element of surprise that is crucial for successful ambush hunting. As you finalize your position, you make a detailed assessment of each potential target, considering factors such as size, apparent health, position relative to escape routes, and likelihood of successful capture. Your predatory instincts integrate this information into a hunting strategy optimized for success. One particular individual in the group catches your attention as an optimal target. It is drinking at a position slightly separated from the others, and its body orientation would make it difficult for the animal to detect your approach until you are very close. Additionally, its size suggests it would provide substantial nutrition while being manageable as prey. You settle into your final attack position, your muscles coiled for explosive action while your senses monitor every aspect of the developing situation. Your breathing becomes controlled and precise, optimized for the intense physical effort that will be required during the pursuit and capture phases of your attack. The moment of attack initiation requires perfect timing, balancing your need for optimal positioning against the risk that prolonged observation might lead to detection by your increasingly alert prey. Your experience as an apex predator guides your decision-making as you prepare to launch your assault. You choose your moment when your selected target moves into the most vulnerable position, momentarily isolated from the group and oriented away from your approach vector. Your attack begins with an explosive burst of speed that transforms you from motionless observer to terrifying predator in an instant. Your powerful legs drive you forward with tremendous acceleration, your body automatically assuming the streamlined posture that minimizes air resistance while maximizing your speed. The distance between you and your target diminishes rapidly as you cover ground with the efficient, bounding gait that characterizes your species' hunting behavior. Your prey's first indication of danger comes when the sound of your approach penetrates their awareness, but by then your attack is already well advanced. The targeted animal's head snaps up from the water, its eyes wide with the sudden recognition of mortal peril approaching at terrifying speed. The chase that follows demonstrates the remarkable capabilities of both predator and prey in your prehistoric ecosystem. Your target immediately begins evasive action, its powerful legs launching it away from the water source toward the cover of nearby vegetation. But your superior speed and acceleration gradually close the distance between you. The pursuit carries you through varied terrain as your prey attempts to use environmental features to break contact or gain advantage. Your target's knowledge of local escape routes and hiding places creates challenges for your attack, but your superior athleticism and predatory experience allow you to anticipate and counter most evasive maneuvers. The other members of the herbivore group scatter in panic as they become aware of the attack, their survival instincts triggering immediate flight responses that carry them away from the danger zone. Their abandonment of the attacked individual is typical of prey species behavior, where group survival takes precedence over individual assistance. Your pursuit takes you through a section of rough terrain where your target attempts to use obstacles and difficult footing to slow your advance. However, your powerful legs and excellent balance allow you to navigate these challenges while maintaining most of your speed, preventing your prey from gaining significant advantage. The chase culminates when your sustained high speed finally brings you within striking range of your exhausted prey. Your attack is swift and precise, your powerful jaws and sharp teeth designed to deliver a killing bite that ensures rapid death, while minimizing the risk of injury to yourself from your struggling victim. Your successful afternoon hunt provides additional nutrition that supplements your morning's meal, ensuring that your substantial energy requirements are met while also providing reserves for future periods when hunting opportunities might be scarce. The efficient dispatch and consumption of your prey demonstrates the effectiveness of your predatory adaptations. As you feed on your second kill of the day, you remain vigilant for the approach of scavengers or competing predators that might be attracted by the scent of fresh meat. Your feeding position is chosen to provide good visibility in all directions, while offering multiple escape routes if threats should appear. The feeding process is efficient and systematic, your body extracting maximum nutrition from your kill, while minimizing the time spent in the vulnerable position that feeding represents. Your dental and digestive adaptations allow you to process meat quickly and efficiently, reducing your exposure to potential threats. After satisfying your nutritional needs, you experience the satisfaction that comes from successful hunting and feeding. Your body chemistry responds to the successful completion of essential survival behaviors, releasing hormones and neurotransmitters that create feelings of well-being and accomplishment. The successful afternoon hunt, combined with your morning's kill, has provided sufficient nutrition to support your massive body's energy requirements for several days if necessary. This success reduces the immediate pressure for additional hunting and allows you to focus on other important behaviors, such as territorial maintenance and social interactions. As the afternoon progresses toward evening, you begin to consider your options for the remainder of the day. Your successful hunting has satisfied your immediate nutritional needs, allowing you to focus on other aspects of your survival strategy, such as territorial patrol, scent marking, and monitoring for potential threats or opportunities. You choose to continue your territorial patrol, moving through different sections of your domain to monitor for changes in prey populations, competitor activity, and environmental conditions that might affect your future hunting success. This ongoing intelligence gathering is essential for maintaining your position as the dominant predator in your territory. Your post-feeding energy levels are high, and you feel capable of sustained activity throughout the remaining daylight hours. Your body has efficiently processed the nutrition from your successful hunts, and your energy reserves are at optimal levels for whatever challenges or opportunities the evening might present. The late afternoon light creates different visual conditions that affect your hunting strategies and territorial monitoring activities. The lower angle of sunlight creates longer shadows and more complex patterns of illumination that must be considered in planning any future predatory activities. You move through an area of your territory that you have not visited recently, checking for signs of intrusion by competitors or changes in local prey populations. This section includes a mix of habitat types that support different communities of potential prey animals and require different hunting approaches. The diversity of your territory's environments ensures that you have access to hunting opportunities throughout the seasonal cycle, as different prey species prefer different habitat types and environmental conditions. Your knowledge of these preferences allows you to predict where hunting opportunities are most likely to develop. You encounter evidence of recent activity by other large predators, scent markings and tracks that indicate the passage of potential competitors through this section of your territory. Your response to these signs is immediate and intense, as territorial intrusions represent serious threats to your resource base and survival. The investigation of competitor sign reveals that the intrusion was recent but brief, suggesting a transient passage rather than an attempt to establish residency or claim territory. However, you reinforce your own scent markings in this area to clearly communicate your ownership and warn against future intrusions. Your territorial marking behavior involves a complex combination of scent deposits and visual displays that communicate detailed information about your presence, health, and dominance status to other predators. These chemical and visual messages help prevent conflicts by clearly establishing ownership and boundaries. After addressing the territorial intrusion, you continue your patrol through areas that have shown recent prey activity. Your knowledge of local animal movement patterns and preferred feeding areas allows you to predict where hunting opportunities are most likely to develop during the evening hours. The advancing afternoon brings changes in temperature and light conditions that affect the behavior of all species in your ecosystem. Many animals begin to show increased activity levels as the harsh conditions of midday give way to the more moderate environment of late afternoon and evening. You observe the renewed activity of various prey species as they emerge from their midday refuges and resume feeding behaviors. Their movements and distribution patterns provide valuable information for planning future hunting strategies and identifying areas of high prey concentration. The improved environmental conditions also increase the activity levels of competing predators, creating a more complex and potentially dangerous environment. Your awareness of competitor presence and behavior becomes increasingly important as multiple predators begin to actively hunt in overlapping territories. Your patrol brings you to an elevated area that provides excellent visibility over a large section of your territory. From this vantage point, you can observe the movements of various animal species and monitor for the development of hunting opportunities or potential threats. The view from your elevated position reveals the remarkable diversity and complexity of your late Cretaceous ecosystem. Multiple species of herbivorous dinosaurs move through the landscape in patterns that reflect their feeding preferences, social structures, and anti-predator strategies. You observe a large herd of herbivorous dinosaurs moving across a distant plain, their numbers suggesting a major migration or seasonal movement pattern. While these animals are too distant for immediate hunting, their presence indicates the general health and productivity of your ecosystem. The movements of flying reptiles provide additional information about environmental conditions and potential opportunities. Pterosaurs soaring on thermal currents often indicate the presence of carrion or active predation situations that might represent scavenging opportunities. As the sun continues its descent toward the horizon, the light begins to take on the golden quality that characterizes late afternoon in your environment. This changing illumination creates new opportunities and challenges for predatory activities, requiring adjustments to hunting strategies and territorial monitoring techniques. The improving thermal conditions allow you to consider more energetic activities, including extended travel to remote sections of your territory that might have been inaccessible during the peak heat of midday. Your operational range expands significantly as environmental conditions become more favorable. You begin to move toward an area of your territory that includes prime hunting grounds for evening activities. This region combines open areas suitable for high-speed pursuit with cover and terrain features that provide opportunities for ambush hunting strategies. Your movement through the landscape is confident and purposeful, reflecting your status as the apex predator in this ecosystem. Your presence affects the behavior of other species, with prey animals becoming more alert and evasive, while smaller predators give way to avoid potential conflicts. The late afternoon environment provides optimal conditions for your sensory systems, with moderate temperatures improving the performance of your chemical detection abilities, while the changing light creates ideal conditions for visual hunting strategies. You encounter a group of smaller theropod dinosaurs that quickly retreat as they become aware of your approach. These potential competitors pose no direct threat to you, but represent competition for some prey resources and demonstrate the complex predator community that exists in your ecosystem. Your territorial dominance is reinforced by these interactions with smaller predators, establishing and maintaining the social hierarchies that help reduce direct conflicts while ensuring your priority access to the best hunting areas and resources. As you continue your late afternoon patrol, you begin to notice the subtle environmental changes that indicate the approach of evening. The angle of sunlight continues to decrease, creating longer shadows and more complex patterns of illumination across the landscape. The temperature begins its gradual decline from the peak heat of midday toward the cooler conditions that will characterize night. This thermal transition affects the behavior of all species in your ecosystem, creating new patterns of activity and opportunity. Your body responds to the changing environmental conditions with subtle adjustments in physiology and behavior. Your energy levels remain high from your successful hunting, but your activity patterns begin to shift toward the behaviors that will characterize your evening routine. The advancing afternoon provides opportunities to observe the complex ecological relationships that characterize your prehistoric world. Predator-prey interactions, competitive relationships, and symbiotic associations all play out in the dynamic environment of your territory. You observe the feeding behavior of a mixed herd of herbivorous dinosaurs, noting how different species within the group occupy different feeding niches and provide mutual benefits through shared vigilance and early warning systems. The social behaviors of prey species reflect the constant pressure of predation in your ecosystem. Their sophisticated communication systems, coordinated defense strategies, and collective vigilance demonstrate the evolutionary arms race between predators and prey. Your own role as an apex predator places you at the center of these ecological relationships, with your hunting success directly affecting the population dynamics and behavioral patterns of multiple prey species within your territory. As the afternoon continues its progression toward evening, you experience the satisfaction that comes from successful territorial maintenance and resource management. Your domain remains secure, your nutritional needs are met, and your position as the dominant predator is unchallenged. The successful day has provided both immediate benefits in terms of nutrition and energy and long-term advantages through effective territorial control and competitor deterrence. These cumulative benefits contribute to your ongoing survival and reproductive success in the challenging environment of the late Cretaceous. Your patrol brings you to an area where recent geological activity has created new terrain features that affect local animal movement patterns and hunting opportunities. The dynamic nature of your environment requires constant adaptation and learning to maintain optimal hunting effectiveness. You investigate these geological changes carefully, noting how they might affect future hunting strategies and territorial maintenance activities. Your ability to adapt to environmental changes is crucial for long-term survival in the ever-changing world of the late Cretaceous. The geological activity also affects the distribution of water sources and vegetation patterns, creating cascading effects throughout the ecosystem that influence the behavior and distribution of both prey and competitor species. As you continue your exploration of the changed terrain, you discover new opportunities for ambush hunting created by the altered landscape features. These natural blinds and approach routes could provide significant advantages in future hunting situations. Your investigation of the new terrain reveals evidence of recent use by various animal species, indicating that the area is quickly being incorporated into established movement and feeding patterns. This adaptability demonstrates the resilience and flexibility of your ecosystem. The late afternoon exploration provides both immediate practical benefits and valuable experience that will inform your future activities. Your growing knowledge of your territory's features and dynamics enhances your effectiveness as both hunter and territorial defender. As the sun begins its final approach toward the horizon, you start to consider your evening activities and eventual preparation for the night rest period. Your successful day has provided substantial nutrition and effective territorial maintenance, setting the stage for continued success. The changing light conditions create new aesthetic qualities in your environment, with the golden illumination of late afternoon highlighting features and colors that are less apparent during other times of day. Your world takes on a different character as shadows lengthen and the quality of light becomes richer and more complex. Your sensory systems adjust to the changing environmental conditions, with your vision adapting to different light levels, while your chemical and auditory senses prepare for the acoustic and scent environments that will characterize evening and night. The behavioral changes of other species provide additional cues about the progression of the daily cycle. Many diurnal animals begin to show signs of preparing for evening activities, while truly nocturnal species remain hidden until full darkness arrives. Your own circadian rhythms begin to influence your behavior and physiology, with subtle changes in hormone levels and neural activity preparing your body for the transition from day to night activities. These internal biological clocks help coordinate your behavior with environmental cycles. The late afternoon period provides optimal conditions for final territorial checks and scent marking activities that will help maintain your dominance during the hours when your active patrol will be reduced. Your chemical messages must remain effective throughout the night period. You approach an area where territorial boundaries intersect with those of other large predators, requiring careful monitoring and maintenance of scent marks that clearly establish your ownership and warn against intrusions by competitors. Your scent marking behavior in these boundary areas is particularly thorough and complex, involving multiple types of chemical deposits that communicate detailed information about your identity, health, and territorial claims to any other predators that might encounter them. The establishment and maintenance of clear territorial boundaries helps reduce the likelihood of dangerous conflicts with other apex predators, while ensuring your exclusive access to the hunting grounds and resources necessary for your survival. As you complete your boundary maintenance activities, you begin to move toward areas of your territory that will provide optimal conditions for evening hunting opportunities and eventual night rest. Your route selection considers both immediate opportunities and long-term security needs. The advancing evening creates new hunting opportunities as prey animals adjust their activity patterns to the changing environmental conditions. Many species become more active during the cooler hours of late afternoon and early evening, providing excellent hunting prospects. Your movement toward evening hunting grounds takes you through varied terrain that showcases the remarkable diversity of your late Cretaceous environment. Each habitat type supports different communities of plants and animals, creating a complex mosaic of ecological relationships. The changing environmental conditions affect not only animal behavior, but also plant responses, with some species adjusting their physiological processes to cope with the daily cycles of temperature, humidity, and light availability. Your knowledge of these environmental patterns and their effects on prey behavior gives you significant advantages in predicting where hunting opportunities are most likely to develop during the evening hours. As the golden light of late afternoon begins to fade toward the warmer tones that will characterize sunset, you feel the deep satisfaction that comes from another successful day in your role as apex predator of your ancient ecosystem. The evening ahead promises continued opportunities for hunting, territorial maintenance, and the eventual rest that will restore your energy for tomorrow's challenges. Your powerful body feels strong and responsive, ready for whatever the approaching night might bring. Your late afternoon exploration culminates as you reach an area that provides excellent visibility over multiple habitat types while offering good cover and security for evening activities. This location will serve as your base for monitoring evening hunting opportunities and preparing for the night rest period. From this elevated position, you can observe the changing patterns of animal activity as the day transitions toward evening. The movements of various species provide valuable information about potential hunting opportunities and the general health of your ecosystem. The successful completion of another day's activities reinforces your position as the dominant predator in your territory, while providing the resources and energy necessary for continued survival in the challenging world of the late Cretaceous. As the sun continues its descent toward the horizon, you settle into the patient observation mode that will help you identify the best evening hunting opportunities while monitoring for potential threats or changes in your territorial situation. The approaching evening brings a sense of anticipation as you prepare for the final activities of another successful day in your life as Carnotaurus, the supreme predator of your ancient South American domain. The golden light of advancing evening bathes your territory in warm illumination, creating a peaceful atmosphere that belies the constant struggle for survival that characterizes existence in your prehistoric world. Your powerful form rests easily on the elevated ground, your senses alert and your body ready for whatever challenges or opportunities the evening and night might present in your ancient realm. As the day slowly transitions toward night, you experience the deep contentment that comes from successful adaptation to your environment and effective performance of your role as apex predator in one of Earth's most remarkable ecosystems. The approaching darkness holds no fear for you, only the promise of continued success in the eternal cycle of hunting, feeding, and survival that has sustained your species for millions of years in the ancient world that is your home. Your breathing deepens as the peaceful evening settles around you, your massive body relaxing into the rhythm of another successful day in your life as the supreme predator of the late Cretaceous, ready for whatever tomorrow may bring to your ancient domain.